Welcome to another episode of the Southern Boating and Yachting Podcast. I'm Ian Sneed.
I'm James Anderson.
And today we have a great episode for you. We're going to be talking about what to pack for a bare bones charter. I had to remind myself to call it a bare bones charter because that phrase for some reason escapes me every time I go to say it.
Right? So let's kind of just briefly discuss what a bare bones charter is.
Yes,
right?
If it's your first time coming across that term.
Yeah, so bare bones is essentially, there are many charter companies out there like the Moorings, Marine Max Vacations, Bareboat, and everything. And they can be a full service charter or what we call a bare bones charter, to where you're basically just renting the boat. They're going to provide you with the boat. They're going to give you a safety overview of the boat. They're going to give you an itinerary if you so would like it. And then you're off on your own. You are your own captain. You are your own chef for the weekend or week. And that's what we mean by bare bones.
Yes.
So it is basically your boat for the week. You're in charge. So
with that, we have 10 absolutely essential things that you need to bring with you if you are doing a bare bones charter. Before we actually get into those items, remember, hit the subscribe button so that you're notified every time we get a new video or we put out a new video. Hit the like button so that we know that you like the content. And if you really want notifications every time we post, hit the little notification bell icon. With that, the first item that we're talking about today.
So number one is tracking. We use a company called Atlas Tracks, and they're a little module, right? It's very easy to pack. I mean, it is literally smaller than half of this mic. And it's going to ping out your location every 15 minutes and send it to an email or to a group of emails that you pick out. And that's going to help keep your location for somebody else or for yourself, so somebody knows where to come find you if you're not communicating anymore.
The way I see it, like if you're going out and you want your kids, for example, to know where you are, or vice versa, your kids are doing a bare bones charter, and you want to make sure that you're aware of them, then you hand them this. That way everybody knows, like, hey, we're in a safe place, right? Especially if foul weather's coming in, you want to know where they're at, where the foul weather is. You can have peace of mind, right? And Atlas Tracks definitely allows that.
It can be a permanent device. You can travel with it, so you can, if you're going to do a bare bones charter, you can actually put this in the boat and it's going to report back to wherever you want. So they know that you're moving, and God forbid if they don't hear from you, they know the location of that thing or the last time that it pinged. So search party has some idea of where to go get you.
And I'm going to put a link in the description. So now, none of the items that we're talking about are paid advertisements. Just so you're aware, like the links in the description are just so you know where to go if you're interested in any of this. I'm going to find what I can and provide that for you in the description. Right. Atlas Track, we have, we know somebody that is
we're very friendly with Atlas Track.
Yeah, we know that they do a great job taking care of their customers. So we're going to put a link in the description for them. Make sure to check them out.
Yeah. I'll get into the next one because this is one that, and this is a particular product that I like. It's going to be the FLIR Scout Pro. This is a night vision or infrared camera that is a binocular. So you can travel with it. This is going to help you see in the middle of the darkness, because a lot of these areas you're going to be in complete darkness when you go. Maybe if you're navigating a bay in the middle of the night, right? And you don't know what's in the bay. You're going to be able to see that because it's going to send you basically back an infrared version of the images, right? Because of the heat signatures. You can even see floating logs. Even if the log's been in the water for a month, you'd be able to see it because it throws off a different...
Now, I have a question for you. Do you think that this would help finding a mooring ball? Let's say you're getting close, it's evening, dusk, whatever, right?
Absolutely.
This would be helpful, wouldn't it?
This will 100% help you find that mooring ball if you're trying to moor in the darkness of night, without a doubt. And I mean, it's literally something that you can pack in the bag. And most of these items are...
Almost everything is packable. Everything we're talking about here is pretty much packable.
Because you're going to leave here the United States and either go to the Virgin Islands, or you're going to go down to the Windward Islands, or you're going to go over to Europe. So these are things that you can put in a suitcase and take them with you, right? And have them for your chartering experience.
Right. And then next, what we want to talk about is having a handheld VHF radio with you.
Yes.
Because we all know that having clear communication, especially if there's something amiss, having clear communication is crucial. And however fast you can communicate, like that could be the difference between having a serious situation and being at ease.
So, and then there's a lot of different reasons to have this. So your boat will come with a VHF radio,
Of course, yes.
right? Mandatory. It always has one. But having an extra one, so if you're out on your inflatable and you're touring around and other people are back on your charter boat, it's a good way to communicate with them. You can take it with you on the inflatable if you need to talk to a harbor master or while you're out on the inflatable. The other thing is just having it as a backup. Right? I believe in redundancy.
I was going to say, it's one of those redundant elements that you want to have.
Absolutely. And there's so many models out there and so many different sizes that it is really free reign. You can find one that works for you, that you like in your price range, but it is something that you should always consider having. So the next one is we're going to talk about PLDs, personal locating devices, and EPIRBs. I highly suggest one or the other, if not both. Okay. Personal locating device, we know what they are. We know what EPIRBs are. Differences is one's going to have your ACATS information, and the other's just going to be a personal locating device. But it's going to let somebody know that you're in distress, and this is where you can come find me. So it is extremely, extremely important to have these.
Now, I do want to say one thing. There's a lot of boaters out there that they feel very confident in their abilities because they've been doing it for so long. And some of these things, they might not 100% be like, yeah, I need to have that. But they might say, you know what, it's a good idea, right?
Yeah,
so they take it with them. But if it's your first time using one of these, right? Or if it's a new model, you want to read the instructions. You want to make sure you know how it works.
Absolutely. It is before you do anything, as a group with your charter,
absolutely
read the instructions. Go over everything with everybody, all of these safety equipments, because you never know. The person that knows the most could be the person in danger, and somebody else may need to be the one in charge at that point in time and take action. Right. So it's important for everybody to know how to utilize these pieces of equipment. Even though an EPIRB might be registered to your home boat with its AIS information, still, it's a great set of safety equipment. I mean,
it really is.
It could save your life.
It's life-saving.
Well, we ran a story where it did save somebody's life.
Yes, exactly. Next is a personal flotation device.
Yes.
And there's such a variety. It's like, okay, how are you packing? Really? And you can choose a different type of personal flotation device because you can run us through, because I know you are so good about learning anything that is technology or new or cutting edge, right? Because before, I think most people would just think of like life vest,
a life vest,
and it's big and bulky, and it's like that's not what personal flotation devices are anymore. That's one type of it, but it's expanded. That whole category has expanded.
It is. So this is more of a personal preference type of deal. There's many different models. The boat is going to come with PFDs, okay, because it's a regulation in, I think, just about everywhere these days. But this is more of a convenience, what feels comfortable to you. Also, ones that you might want to be wearing while you're doing activities. So you might be thinking about, well, this is the one that I like to use while I'm snorkeling, so I'm going to go ahead and bring it. It's just something as simple as that, or you might want extras. I mean, it's just, again, this is a personal preference. Some people wear them all the time. Some people don't.
And the next one, I want you to bring it up because you're so right. Like you're right when you talk about this.
This one is something that a lot of people would not think of, but for some of us, it's like, oh yeah, I'm not leaving home without it.
Right.
Is a multi-tool, like a Leatherman, right? Super simple to bring. I mean, they make all different kinds. Leatherman is a brand name, but everybody makes one of these. And it's so important to have because it'll help you get out of a sticky situation for a couple of minutes, maybe fix something real quick for you so you can get back somewhere or get back to safety.
Well, there's also a size thing, right? Because a lot of tool bags will be like bigger tools. But it's like, well, maybe you need to like undo a smaller screw and the tools are too big and you can't get to it. Right. Where these multi-tools tend to be pocket sized. So it'll be the right size for what you need.
Exactly right. So if you're out and about and enjoying the day, and let's say you're out on the inflatable and this is just in your go bag for the day, okay, well, if something happens, then I at least have this little tool or multi-tool to actually hopefully resolve the issue.
Yeah.
And it could save the day for you.
Yeah. So the next one is something that we're pretty confident. Like all the reliable companies are going to provide you with one of these, right? But
Yes.
people have their preferences. When I look at items like this, it's kind of like cell phones. Everybody has their preferred brand or the preferred type, or sometimes computers do. Everybody has their preference, and what we're talking about.
Cell phones other than the iPhone.
So they say. I don't know. So what we're talking about is binoculars, right? We know that binoculars come in all shapes, all sizes, all different levels of, say lenses or different lengths, focal lengths, and all of that. So binoculars, you can get really granular in how specific it is, and a lot of people might have their preferred set of binoculars for a certain reason. And maybe you don't want to take your favorite pair, but you do want to take one that you trust, one that you know is reliable, because you don't know the type of binocular that you're going to be provided.
Just about every bare bones charter provides you with a set of binoculars because they're a safety piece of equipment.
Right.
But I agree with you. It's so important to have your personal choice, but as well as having an extra pair. Who knows when you need two sets of eyes,
That's
right?
true.
And or if you're, keep a set up on the fly bridge, keep a set down at the lower helm. It just depends. It's a preference thing. But to me, I always think having an extra pair, it's like the redundancies that we talk about, right? What happens if one pair goes overboard?
Right.
I'd rather be upset that I lost a pair and have a backup and still be able to have that opportunity to look at things through a pair of binoculars, looking for mooring balls, looking for, because one of the big things is while you're looking for your mooring ball, if you're in a bay that has a lot of mooring balls, well, some of them are marked do not use because they're private mooring balls, right? Or for commercial vessels or whatever it may be. So it's important to be able to identify those instead of just, wandering from mooring ball to mooring ball until you can identify it. Now with a pair of binoculars, it's easy to do such a thing. So again, super important.
Definitely important. The next one I thought was funny because we wrote it down and I was like, why would you want this, right? And then James goes, for this situation. And I'm like, oh, that's what you mean. Okay. An inflatable ladder.
So it's a ladder for your inflatable.
I know, but I like saying it because you get the image of like having like this plastic ladder that you're inflating with a pump, and I'm just like, what good would that be?
You got that image.
I got that image. I was like, what good would that be? That wouldn't be any good. Like, what is the point of that? But a ladder for your inflatable.
A ladder for your inflatable, right?
Yeah.
The whole point of these barebone boat charters is really to go out and experience things. So you're going to be out on the inflatable, going into the marina, or going out to a snorkeling spot, right? So it's when you want to get out of the water while you're snorkeling and back into it, it's pretty much impossible. Yes, it can be done, but it's not an easy trick to get back into the inflatable while you're treading water. So this is actually going to help you make it a lot easier to get back into that inflatable. And literally, these things can be rolled up into something this big, and you tuck it away in your suitcase, and off you go. And then you're not struggling to get back into the inflatable,
right?
Because literally, while you're treading water, your head's pretty much above water, right? And you need to get up and over the inflatable tube. And that's no easy trick. Not everybody can do it.
Right. Think about if you've been out snorkeling all day, your body's going to be fatigued. You might not feel it in the moment because, you're enjoying yourself. But once you get back up to the top and you try to get into that inflatable, you realize, oh, wow, I've really used every bit of energy that my body has. How am I supposed to, pull myself up when the water's holding me down? It's just...
you may not be strong enough to lift your body weight out of the water either.
Exactly.
So this helps out tremendously.
Yes.
Right? I think the next one is going to be, and I'm going to throw you for a little bit of a loop here because I'm going to reverse these two.
Okay.
So the next one is a pair of water shoes. I deem these extremely important, right? You're getting into foreign waters that you're not ultra familiar with. So if you're walking from, up onto shore, you don't know what's underneath you. It's not a familiar beach, so you can't say, oh yeah, it's a sandy beach, no big deal, go up barefoot. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It could be coral. There could be rocks. You don't know what kind of rocks. It's just so having a pair of water shoes that you can utilize while you go ashore is so important. And then they can double down. They could be the water socks that you use for when you're snorkeling and putting on also a pair of fins that don't. The fins that strap around your heel. That's going to help you protect yourself. So protecting your feet is really important because when you get your feet hurt, man, game over.
I used to tell people when I would train that getting your foot injury is probably much worse than getting an upper body injury.
100%.
And because the recovery time is worse, the amount of pain, like when people really sit down and think, even if they're like, I don't walk a lot, I'm usually at a desk. That doesn't matter.
And we're talking about protecting the bottom
of your
feet.
It's so sensitive. Yeah, it's
right.
So I support water shoes 100%.
And you don't, any one of those wounds having to flush it out and then just deal with it, it'll ruin your trip. So just
absolutely.
Pair of water shoes, done, you're safe, you're good to go.
Yep.
Right? Don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yep.
And the last one I'll let you handle because this is right up your alley.
Hydration packets. Right? So one thing I think people underestimate is how much fluid they want to consume when they're out and about, they're out in the sun, they're out doing physical activity. And if it's not something that they're doing regularly, how much water like your body is using and how much you need to replace that water. But what's most important is the fact that it's not just the water, it's the electrolyte balance so that water can hydrate the cells. That's the important part. And so these hydration packets help because imagine trying to run around, unless you can find like fresh coconut water everywhere you go, which would be the next best thing. These hydration packets would be immensely useful.
Yeah, and they're a lot of people don't think about it. They're like, oh yeah, I'll get them while I'm there.
Right.
And while I'm picking up provisionings, they'll have them. No, they won't.
Right.
This is really kind of a U.S. type of thing anymore.
Right, and not just that, but those, the local places are used to their local environment. They're used to their local activity level. They're used to, so for them, it's why do they need it if it's normal, right? We're the ones being taken out of our environment.
Being out in the sun, being active. Getting the wind will help dry you out too. So if you're in a spot that's really windy, that's gonna exacerbate the dehydration.
Yep.
So just staying hydrated, and it's incredibly important to stay hydrated while you're on these trips because when you're hydrated, it is much easier for your body to pay attention, your mind to work properly. Once you start getting dehydrated, funny things start happening. I mean, all the way to the very worst stage of dehydration is hallucinations.
Yeah, well,
right? Seeing things that are not exactly right there.
Yeah.
So, and keeping a sharp mind is extra important while we're boating, and this is going to help you make sure that you keep a sharp mind and that your body's functioning properly.
And there are some tips for hydration outside of the hydration packets. For example, eating like fruits that have a lot of water, like watermelon, oranges, cucumbers. You can even get mangoes, right? They're pretty juicy. There's a decent amount of water in them. So eating more fruits will help. So if you're out there and you're making that part of your diet and drinking some water, you're probably going to be okay. But you still want to have these just in case you're dealing with the effects of dehydration. Because the thing is, like, dehydration starts a lot earlier than people realize.
Yes.
So it's important to have this. And even if you're just taking one a day for maintenance, like that's a good idea.
Dehydration will sneak up on you. And you find yourself in a bad position.
It absolutely will.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's it for our 10, right? There's plenty of other things that you can think about bringing, but these are 10 that we highly recommend. So some of the other things are going to be like bringing your own personal snorkel gear so you know that it fits, right? If you want to do some fishing, am I going to bring my own fishing gear, or am I going to find out what fishing gear is available for rental while I'm there? Do they offer, do they not offer? What is it? Is it going to suffice for the style of fishing I want to do? So there's just a lot. This is something that you have to think through, and be prepared for. The best way to start with, I think, being prepared for some of the other things is just, start making a daily itinerary of activities that you want to do. What are the things that you need to do those activities? And are you willing to rent equipment to do those, or are you more dead set on bringing your own because that's what you're comfortable with?
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. But it is important for the others. I feel like the safety equipment stuff, you can never be safe enough.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that.
That's it for now. Until next time, I'm James Anderson.
I'm Ian Sneed.
We'll see you next week.
but you still want to have these just in case you start realizing you're having dehydration. What's the word I'm looking for? Effects of dehydration.
Effects of
you're dealing
dehydration.
with the effects of dehydration. I'm only going to cut out a little bit of that pause.